The gentle hum of the atmospheric processors filled the expansive gymnasium of Kepler Station Academy as 37 alien students from 12 different species gathered for their weekly physical conditioning class. Professor Zixthera, a graceful Etherian with translucent skin and 4 delicate arms, floated near the equipment storage area, her bioluminescent patches pulsing in a calming blue rhythm. "Today we'll be practicing low-gravity obstacle navigation," she announced, her voice carrying the melodic quality typical of her species. "Remember, the artificial gravity in this section has been reduced to 0.3 standard units for your safety." The students chittered and whistled their acknowledgement in various alien languages. There were the crystalline Zephyrians, whose bodies tinkled like wind chimes with each movement, the slug-like Moistari who left shimmering trails wherever they glided, and the insectoid Vrital, whose compound eyes reflected the gymnasium's soft lighting in prismatic patterns. Everything changed when the door hissed open. A collective gasp rippled through the assembled students as a figure stepped through the entrance, tall, bipedal, and covered in what appeared to be some kind of flexible membrane that changed color patterns. But it wasn't the strange appearance that sent waves of terror through the group. It was the species classification that immediately appeared on everyone's personal data pads: Homo sapiens. Origin, Sol 3, Terra. Classification, Deathworlder. "Oh no," whispered Kletik, a small amphibious aquarite whose gills fluttered with panic. "It's one of them." The human, a female specimen named Sarah Chen according to the class roster, seemed oblivious to the terror she'd just inspired. She approached Professor Zixthera with what the aliens could only interpret as an aggressive display of dental structures, though humans apparently called it a smile. "Sorry I'm late, Professor," Sarah said, her voice carrying undertones that made several students instinctively activate their personal shields. "Had to finish up a chemistry lab." Chemistry lab. The word sent another wave of panic through the group. Everyone knew that Deathworlders routinely handled substances that would instantly dissolve most civilized species. Professor Zixthera's bioluminescent patches flickered between calming blue and alarmed orange. She had taught hundreds of species over her long career, but this was her first encounter with a being from Terra, that nightmare world where everything was supposedly trying to kill everything else. "Of course, Miss Chen," the professor managed, trying to maintain her composure. "We're just beginning today's obstacle course. The gravity has been reduced to 0.3 standard for everyone's safety." Sarah nodded and began what appeared to be some kind of ritualistic preparation. She bent her limbs at impossible angles, twisted her torso, and performed movements that made the watching aliens certain she was either in severe distress or preparing for combat. Is it having some kind of medical emergency?" whispered Fun, a gas-based nebular whose form rippled with anxiety. "Negative," replied Vixtal student BZZT-Click, whose compound eyes never left the human. "Preliminary analysis suggests ritualistic pre-combat behavior. Species designation indicates extreme physical capability." The ritual, which Sarah thought of as simple stretching, concluded, and she looked around at the obstacle course. Her eyes, those terrifying forward-facing predator eyes, assessed the setup with what appeared to be casual indifference. "Looks fun," she said, and several students activated emergency beacons. Professor Zixthera quickly explained the rules. Students would navigate the course one at a time, moving carefully through the reduced gravity environment. The course consisted of soft foam barriers to climb over, gentle inclines to traverse, and low-hanging ribbons to duck under, all designed for the delicate physiologies of civilized species. The first few students went through with typical caution, their movements slow and measured in the unfamiliar gravity. Each took approximately 8 to 10 minutes to complete the course. Then it was Sarah's turn. What happened next would be discussed in hushed tones throughout Kepler Station for months to come. Instead of the careful, measured approach of her classmates, Sarah launched herself at the first obstacle. She bounded over barriers that others had carefully climbed, her powerful legs propelling her through the reduced gravity like some kind of biological projectile. "Defensive positions," shrieked a crystalline student, convinced the Deathworlder had gone into attack mode. But Sarah wasn't attacking, she was simply navigating the course with the casual athleticism of a species that had evolved on a planet trying to kill it every moment of every day. She rolled under barriers, leaped over gaps, and moved with a fluid grace that was both beautiful and absolutely terrifying to beings whose home worlds had gravity wells barely strong enough to hold an atmosphere. The entire course, designed to challenge aliens for nearly 10 minutes, was completed by Sarah in 43 seconds. She jogged back to the group, not even breathing heavily, and asked, "Want me to go again?" That was actually pretty relaxing. Relaxing. Professor Zixthara's patches had gone completely white, the Etherian equivalent of fainting while still conscious. Half the class had activated emergency lockdown protocols on their personal suits. 3 students had requested immediate transport to the medical bay. Perhaps, the professor managed weakly, we should modify the course parameters for diverse physiological requirements.